Hey Deathslingers! After getting through all the other encounters, we can finally deal with Riven. This encounter is probably the hardest encounter among all of the others, if you don't do the cheese. However, I think it is also the most fun to do, so let's not waste any time and get into the mechanics. The map of the boss fight contains 3 floors. We start on the 3rd floor and will drop down to the 1st once the encounter starts. Each floor is connected with an elevator that will be activated after a mechanic, which we'll discuss later. The entire boss fight can be divided into 2 separate sides, the crystal side and tree side. Apart from the decorations, both sides mirror each other. The 1st and 2nd floor are identical. Each floor is kind of like a circle. In the middle, you'll have the pit. At the back, you have the looking glass. Behind the looking glass is the passage to an elevator. The outer side of the room are elevated platforms that you can stand on. In the front is a platform where Riven will appear, and connecting it are 2 stairs on both sides. The 3rd floor, on the other hand, consists of 4 platforms that resembles the one you see in the 1st and 2nd floor. Looking from the entrance, there will be 2 on the tree side to the right and 2 on the crystal side to the left. Each side also has 3 plates where you can stand on to start the encounter. In the middle, there are 6 broken pillars surrounding a center pillar. In the very back of the room, there will be a platform where ogres will spawn during the damage phase. The mechanic in the boss fight can be categorized as ad clearing, stunning, DPS, eyes, symbols, drop down, or what we like to call the zits, and parkour. Different floors in this encounter are simply made up of different combinations of these mechanics, so let's start from the 1st floor. In the 1st floor, after everyone is dropped down and entered their respective rooms, the phase starts out with ad clearing. This part, the most important thing to do is to kill the snipers on the 2 sides. There will be 4 snipers in total, 2 on the left platform and 2 on the right platform. Kill them first, then kill the silence that spawn in the middle of the map. Have 1 person deal with the last snipers and 1 with the right should be sufficient to deal with the situation. After that, depending on whether Riven comes to your room or not, the encounter will be different. If Riven decides to come to your room, you'll have to stun her to reveal her eyes. There will be 2 situations here. If Riven comes into the room with her tentacles floating, one player will have to go under her tentacles and bait Riven to slam it. If you are on the ground when her tentacles hit the floor, you'll be launched into the air, so just make sure you are in the air when it hits. Once the tentacles is on the ground, you'll want to shoot it. If enough damage is dealt, Riven will be stunned and she'll reveal her eyes. On the other hand, if Riven comes into the room without the tentacles, that means she'll spit fire at you. To stun her, you'll need to shoot her mouth after she breathes the fire, which is when her mouth is glowing orange. You'll do no damage if her mouth is cool. Again, once you do enough damage, Riven will get stunned and reveal her eyes. 2 of her eyes will be glowing after the stun. You'll want to tell the other team which 2 they'll need to shoot. For this part, my team numbered the eyes from left to right 1 to 10, so the call would be something like 3 and 8. Be aware that if you don't stun Riven fast enough, she'll leave eventually. This could lead to a wipe if your teammates on the other side don't know which eyes to shoot during the DPS phase. After the stun, you'll have another ad clear with an Eye of Riven spawning. Kill another 4 snipers, then kill the Eye of Riven. This is when you'll start the symbol mechanic to activate an elevator to get to the next floor. For the symbols, your goal is to cleanse the correct symbols. There will be 1 player who is going to pick up the taken essence dropped by the Eye of Riven. Once that's done, he'll see a symbol on the looking glass. That symbol is the target symbol you'll want to cleanse. However, only by looking through the looking glass can you see where the symbols are. Therefore, 1 player should also be behind the looking glass, pointing out where the person with taken essence should go. My team usually divide the room into top, pit, left stairs, and right stairs, which is dependent on the perspective of the person at the looking glass. Our callouts consist of the general location, then the specific location. It would sound something like top left, pit middle, right stairs far right. Every callouts are from the perspective of the person at the looking glass, not the person with the taken essence. Once at the correct symbol, use your grenade button to cleanse the symbol and you'll activate the elevator to the next floor. The other room, on the other hand, will look like this. Ad clear, then the second wave of ads with an eye of Riven. After that, Riven will come to that room with her mouth open. This is the DPS mechanic, where you'll want to do as much damage to the taken blight in her mouth. However, if you don't stun her or kill her during this time, everyone will wipe. So at the end of the DPS mechanic, 1 or 2 people will have to shoot the eyes that were mentioned by the other room to stun her. If the wrong eye were somehow shot, it'll result in a wipe. And that's why it's important for the team on the other side to stun Riven and communicate which eyes to shoot. After that's done, if the taken essence hasn't despawned, one player can just pick it up and start the symbol cleansing. If it despawned, another eye of Riven will spawn. Go ahead and kill it and proceed as usual. After the first floor is done, everyone will ascend to the next floor. Everything here is the same, except the sequence of these 2 sides will be flipped. That means if you have to deal with Riven's tentacles or fire on the first floor, you'll be doing the damage on the second, vice versa. Once the symbols are cleansed on the second floor, the elevator will be activated in the center of the room. Go ahead and move up. So let's see an example for the first 2 floors. Let's say Riven decides to go to the tree side first on the first floor. The flow of the first 2 floors will look like this. Tree side will have a wave of ads, then Riven will come to your room. Stun her, call out the eyes, then another wave of ads will spawn with an eye of Riven. Kill eye of Riven, cleanse the symbol, move up to the next floor. On the second floor, you have 2 waves of ads. The second wave will have an eye of Riven. Kill him, but don't start the symbol phase. The other team should call out their eyes by now. Then Riven will come to your room. DPS first, then shoot the eyes in the end. After that's done, do the symbol cleansing and move to the next floor. Crystal side will look like this. 2 waves of ads with eye of Riven on the second. Then Riven will come in, you do DPS, then shoot the eyes, do symbols, move up to the next floor, clear 1 wave of ads, stun Riven, do symbols, and move up to the 3rd floor. So if you stun on the first floor, that means you'll do DPS on the second, vice versa. If everything went according to plan, you'll enter the 3rd floor where you initially started. The 3rd floor also starts out with ad clearing. There will be 2 ogres that will spawn at where you come up from the elevator, 1 on each side. After that, Riven will come out on one of the platforms surrounding the room. Flanking her will be another set of ogres and ads. Kill the ogres first and stun Riven depending on if she has tentacles or fire. Again, remember that 2 eyes that were glowing when she is stunned. Riven will then move to the platform to the right with the same setup. In total, you'll have to stun Riven 3 times and remember which 6 eyes were glowing. When Riven finally appears for the 4th time, it's DPS phase. However, there will, again, be another set of ogres that spawn with Riven. If your team can't do enough damage to lower Riven to this part of her health bar, in the time given, you'll have to get ready to shoot her eyes. My experience is that an average team not using any cheese wouldn't be able to do this much damage in the few damage phase that the encounter gives you. In total, you'll probably have around 15 seconds of time to do damage and shoot the eyes. My team usually assigns 3 people to do with 6 eyes. Each of them will take care of 2 eyes and the rest of the team will focus on the ogres and then DPS. After all 6 correct eyes are shot, Riven will retreat and we can then move on to the drop down mechanic. That means everyone will have to go back to a plate. The twist is, if there are no ads in the map, you will get a debuff called Creeping Darkness. If you get 10 stacks of Creeping Darkness, you'll die. So either intentionally leave some ads alive or move to a plate quickly. Once everyone is on the plate, just like how the encounter started, you'll drop down to the 1st floor. However, on the way down, you'll see there will be a bunch of glowing bubbles or zits on Riven this time. Popping these weak spots will deal tons of damage to Riven, but be careful while doing so because when you pop a zit, there will be Axiom darts coming to you. So just shoot them and you'll be fine. This part is usually when your team will be able to deal enough damage to trigger the next part of the encounter. However, if you don't, once you drop down to the first floor, everything is just rinse and repeat. So let's talk about what happens whenever you lowered Riven's health to that tiny portion. It'll basically start a parkour phase. Your goal here is to move up to a taken blight on top of the map. Only one person has to get there. Throughout the parkour, everyone will be taking damage. It's not a huge deal, but there are also taken phalanxes on the way. So be careful not to take too much damage or get pushed off by the phalanxes. Once one player jumps through the blight, everyone will get teleported back to the third floor. Here's the final showdown, the last DPS phase. Again, do damage quickly, you're on a timer. After Riven is beaten, you'll want to jump into her mouth and get to her heart. Do more damage to the heart, then you are finally done with this encounter. In this encounter, there are several subclasses that really shines. First, let's talk about Warlocks. Most of the subclasses will work just fine, but Chaos Reach and Well of Radiance will be the most beneficial to the team. Chaos Reach can be a backup for DPS on Riven, and Well of Radiance, as you should know already, buffs your team and keeps them safe. For Titan, Sunbreaker, again, is really good at ad clearing and making sure that you can do enough damage to Riven's tentacles. Hunters have a few more good choices here. Celestial Golden Gun is basically a guaranteed stun on Riven when she is spitting fire at you. And of course, you can also use your super to DPS on Riven as well. Blade Barrage is very good at taking down the ogres during DPS, but don't use it to DPS Riven. Knives will actually track Riven's eyes, resulting in a wipe. On that note, don't use Swarm Grenades on Riven, just don't. Tether Hunters with Orpheus Rig are also super good here, especially for ad control and suppressing ogres during DPS. Team comp wise, I would suggest a team to at least have one Will of Radiance Warlock. This is so that during DPS on the third floor, your team will have the highest damage output. All the other classes mentioned here are not that essential, but will make your walkthrough much easier. With that said, I think with a competent team, any subclasses will work for you. In my opinion, weapons in this encounter will be more important than subclasses. You'll want to have a good weapon to do DPS and one or two for ad clearing. A good heavy can carry you through this encounter, while a bad one is going to drag your whole team down. For DPS, any cluster bomb rockets will be sufficient enough to deal with Riven. There is a reason that people use cluster bomb for the cheese, but even for normal play, it'll outperform most other weapons or even exotic heavy. Slate Persimmon, 1000 Voices are also very good option for DPS. However, every single weapons I mentioned so far have one huge flaw. If you have no way to get your heavy back and ready for the next DPS, you'll be in trouble. On the other hand, Whisper of the Worm and the Thunderlord wouldn't have such trouble. As long as you hit crits, you'll never run out of heavy on Whisper. And you do have plenty of ammo for using Thunderlord, so if you use it sparingly during other mechanic, you shouldn't run out of heavy. One way to combat the heavy problem is to use the Taken Armament mod, which you can get from the raid. It'll give you heavy when you kill a Taken with your grenade, which kind of solves the heavy problem. For your energy and kinetic slot, I would suggest using a pulse rifle, scout rifle, plus sniper shotgun bow combination. The reason you want to use a pulse and scout is that you need to shoot the eyes and deal with ads that are in the distance. Personally, I have more success with a pulse rifle, but scout seems to be good as well. The reason for using a sniper is to stun Riven and kill ogres without using your heavy. Bow have a similar utility as snipers, but bow shines best for popping zits, since they can one-shot them. Shotguns are good against Isle of Riven, ogres, and Riven's tentacles. If you want to put your exotics in the special and normal slot, I strongly suggest Graviton Lens. It kills ads and pop eyes easily. To sum up, the Riven boss fight is all about stunning Riven, DPS, and shoot eyes on 3 floors. Though this encounter is hard, I personally think this encounter is very fun. Solving puzzles, figuring out how to coordinate as a team is what makes this encounter unique. I found using the rocket launcher cheese to be a missed opportunity to enjoy a very well designed content in Destiny 2. Therefore, I strongly encourage anyone to at least learn and do the full mechanic of this encounter once. This is also the reason I wanted to finish this guide. Hope you have stuck through this lengthy tutorial and found value in it. Have fun and don't die.